Alright, hey guys, this is Frisky. Got a video for you about um, using AutoCAD or Google SketchUp as means of making source maps. Normally you would use Hammer, which, well, I mean, we are using Hammer, but we use a lot less of Hammer to make source game maps. Now I can open up the right now I'm doing the Counter-Strike Global Offensive beta SDK that was just released last Friday, and it comes with the Hammer World Editor. I'm just going to show you where to download that real quick. This also applies for any source game. It's just going to be slightly different. I'll show you here. You go to your library, your Steam library, and then you go to Tools under this All Games drop-down box, and then you find the SDK for what you want. For the we're gonna need to export some stuff from Google SketchUp, and you'll need plugins for Google SketchUp to do that. So you'll need to you have to download this source SDK. It's just source SDK, not base 06 or 07. So that's about a gig. Once that's downloaded and installed, you're good. The Global Offensive SDK I need because I'm compiling for Global Offensive maps. If you're making Left 4 Dead, you'd obviously need the Left 4 Dead SDK, stuff like that. But make sure you've got this source SDK, and then once you've installed it, you're going to need a couple other things. If you're using AutoCAD, right now I have 2012 right here. That's what I'm going to be showing you. I don't know how to do it with any other CAD program other than AutoCAD. Many would prefer just to do it in Google SketchUp, which I'm going to show you how to do. It's just one less step because you don't need to bring it from AutoCAD to SketchUp. So what we need to do before we do anything is add some plugins to Google SketchUp. So what I'm going to do is open up my computer, go to wherever you installed Steam, and then go to Steam Apps, your username, and then make sure you've run the SDK once. So you'll have to go into Steam, which is over here. You have to go into Steam, go to Tools, and play the game, or play the SDK, and that'll load up a bunch of stuff. And then once that's finished, you can close out of this. It'll wheel a window just like this. You can close out of that, and then you will see two new folders in your username folder in your Steam directory. One of which is Source SDK, which is the one we want. You want to go there, and then there's a folder called SketchUp. Click on that one, and then you can take all these files and copy them. Then we don't need that directory anymore, so we'll just go over to the your main drive, go to Program Files, and find Google SketchUp. You will need the Pro version to import AutoCAD files. Otherwise, you don't need it if you're just using SketchUp. The Pro version is available online in the usual locations, including available for purchase directly from Google. So if you know where to get it, go get it there. Otherwise, you can pay for it. So under your Google SketchUp directory, there is a plugins folder. You can go there and then paste whatever you have into here. I already have it all in here, so I'm just going to overwrite it. And once everything's in there, your plugins are installed, and we're good to go. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is the AutoCAD stuff. Now, right now, I have a room built in 3D for AutoCAD, and if I just go and render this real quick, you can see just the you know what I mean. It's just the general idea. These are just walls. There's actually no floor at this point, but there's some caveats for building in something other than Hammer. Hammer doesn't like brushes. If you've mapped before, brushes are essentially like the blocks. They're squares. They're quadrilaterals in 3D space. So if I go and I take any one of these walls, if I isolate it, you can see that all it is an extremely elongated 3D rectangle. And that is the case for every single one of these walls. If you try and make them all one solid, like I could take them all and union them, and you can see that they would join. So if I pick one, I pick everything. If I do that, AutoCAD will absolutely freak out, and Hammer will freak out and will not let you import anything. So make sure that everything you do everything in is entirely composed of rectangles that are extruded. All I did in AutoCAD to do this is you go down. I have my grid set up to be 128 by 128, so this is a fairly standard size for a texture. I'll show you that when I go in and texture some stuff once we get this all imported. But that's 108 by 128. And if I can extrude it, pick that object, and let's see, I want 8 inches corresponds to 8 hammer units. And that is about as complicated as I can make it. Anything that's round or more complicated than rectangles is going to have to be done in the Hammer editor after you get your framework like this done. So enough about AutoCAD. I'm not going to show you how to do all this. There are plenty of tutorials on how to work with solids in AutoCAD. Yeah, so we're going to save that. I have a place that I save that, and we're going to open up Google SketchUp. And there's this person that we can delete. We're going to go to File and Import. And now this is the part that you need Pro for. So if you don't have Pro, you won't see this. You go to Import, and you have to pick AutoCAD files from this drop-down box here. Now I've got this ready. Just import it, and it'll say stuff that it did. It'll ignore stuff like lines, text, anything that SketchUp wouldn't be able to handle otherwise. And we have the fully composed room thing here. And what we need to do to get this into Hammer is go to our plugins thing right here. And you should see two options. These two actually don't work. I need to get rid of those. But you'll see Export SMD and Export VMF. You want to export VMF. And then I already have one saved here, so I'm just going to override it. Make sure you add on this VMF thing when you type out the file name, because it will not append it by default. So actually type out .vmf after whatever you name it, because there's no option for file type right here. So once you save that, I'm going to replace it. It might give you a warning for unsupported stuff. Usually it's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem for me yet. So I'm going to close that, and we're going to open up the Hammer World Editor. And we're going to go to Open. I'm going to go to where my stuff is, and I'm going to open that VMF file. And here we are in the editor, and I am just walking around in 3D space here. It'll automatically add a environmental sunlight that you can get rid of as you please. I'll just get rid of these now. And we are left with a plane. They are all textured at the moment, so the best thing you can do for yourself is to just go in, select everything, and we are going to browse for no draw. This texture will prevent everything from being drawn, and we apply the texture. And there we go. So everything is set to not draw, and because I set up my grid here, if I go to the top view, one grid, large grid unit is 128 by 128, and one small grid unit is 8 by 8. And with that, I can easily translate this over into stuff that looks and plays nice with textures. So if you notice, this will just be a little spawn room thing. And if I go to texture application, I go to wall dev, this one. And I'm going to, whoops, don't want to do that. I can right click to apply it to wall faces, and everything goes on perfectly. Even the extra edges that I have on some of my rectangles that I imported play nice and ends up forming perfectly sized textures for this dev texture. You know what I mean? Everything is multiples of 128, which works really nicely. And there you have it. That is everything textured. I'm not going to compile this because I don't have a roof on it. Actually, I'm going to pause it, add a player start, add a buy zone, and add a light and a floor and a roof, and I will be back to just show you that it actually does work in CSGO. Alright, so this is me in the game, and I'm in the map that I just created. It's nothing special, probably could have made the light a little bit brighter, but you get the gist of it. It's awesome that there's a different way to map as opposed to using hammer, which I'm used to CAD, and I enjoy being able to use something familiar to make these. Alright. Well, sorry about that. Anyways, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you all in a later video.